Good Friday, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jacob Wycoff, joined by our executive weather producer, Terry Eliasen. Terry, this is a broken record that has played.
What do you know?
Every Friday we talk about some Saturday rain, it seems like.
I feel like we've been here before.
Yeah, once or twice, for
or
sure.
maybe, so officially in Boston, it's going to be 9 out of 12 of Saturdays. I think we've had rain. And in Worcester, it's
11 straight.
11 straight. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just if you've got Saturday plans, just forget it. Just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Wave the white flag.
Yeah. I mean, stay tuned though. We've got
Yes.
reasons for optimism coming up, and this Saturday is not going to be a complete washout.
No.
Let's say that right off the bat.
Yes. I think there is definitely a cause for hope in the forecast. When you hear Saturday rain, when you hear Saturday rain, though, it's like, again, I just want to get outside.
Yeah.
There will be some dry time, so we'll hop right into it. Yes. We do have a next weather alert in effect for our Saturday rain, and kind of what we're watching for is this quick-moving system that arrives early Saturday morning. It's going to cause some brief localized flooding with how intense some of the rainfall is going to be, and there could even be some thunder and lightning with this.
Yeah, a few embedded storms of thunder. I think the idea is it's really just a couple hours of downpours, and if you're a late sleeper, you may miss the whole thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's really anytime after midnight, some rain could roll in. I think there's going to be a heavy band or two or downpour or two somewhere in the 4 to 8 a.m. range.
Yep.
So unfortunately, if you got a soccer game at 9 or 10, the rain may be over, but the fields may be drenched.
Yes. So my family lives in Milford, and the soccer fields are on top of an old landfill. And so it doesn't drain at all.
Okay.
Super
Not
muddy.
ideal.
Plains Park is where we play. Every weekend, Parks and Rec, they're always texting me, what are we doing this weekend? So
well, at least you're involved.
I try to be. I try. You know, we all have skills that we can bring to the table, but that's what we're up against. And there's so few days now to be able to reschedule.
You can't make them all up.
Yeah. So that's the unfortunate thing.
Spring sports are rough. Having coached baseball for years, it's just a tough time of year in New England to play sports.
And so on that same note, this is what we've been up against.
Yeah.
Rainfall in the month of May for Boston, at the moment, the 5th wettest. I don't know if that graphic is in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of green on that map right there.
Lot of green, yes.
Days. And if you notice the Saturday column, it's all green. And then we'll add one more green dot to that. Tomorrow.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, we've had over 7 inches of rain just this month in May. And that's really about 2 months worth. And here's that stat we were talking about earlier. This will be a number 11 in Worcester.
Yep. I think the other kind of remarkable thing is we've had rain either Saturday or Sunday in Boston, dating back all the way until March 8th and 9th. That's the streak that we've been going. So at least one of the weekend days have featured at least a little rain.
Clean, big old area of high pressure to sit over us for any length of time, and certainly not on a weekend. We've had some good weekdays. We had a
great.
If you think back, the spring. I know people love to complain about the weather, especially in the springtime here, but this spring has actually been fairly normal. Now, May has certainly been wetter than average. But temperature-wise and rain-wise, it hasn't been that unusual. It's just happened at an inopportune time. Right. I think that's the big deal.
Yep.
So yeah, this, as you said earlier, 5th wettest, currently the 5th wettest May on record in Boston. And we'll probably get up to 4th. We got an outside chance at 3rd if we get over an inch of rain in Boston.
Sure.
I think, I don't know about you, I think the heaviest rain is probably more west of town.
Yes.
Not necessarily along the East Coast.
Central and Western Mass, it looks like the axis of heavy rain will, at least locally, that's where we'll find it.
Yeah, so again, everyone probably gets a few downpours tomorrow, but heavier Worcester County westward. And you can see, up until now, it's been sort of about even, a little bit below average as far as the monthly rain goes. In May, it has just shot through the roof.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get, we'll be probably 5 inches above average by the time the month ends. Now, if you're one of those, if you're a gardener, if you're sort of concerned about, now we've been through some droughts over the last few years, this May rain has completely wiped that off.
Which is great. Great news. Yeah. We always talk about we need the rain when the time comes, right? And so this is planting season. You're a farmer, you're a gardener. You want the rain in the springtime, and we're able to do that.
Yeah, and now this is the first time in quite some time that you can basically all of New England, except for a few little patches there, is technically drought-free. This is the drought monitor. And you'll see over the Cape and the Islands there's a little bit of drought left. To me, I'm not worried about a drought on the Cape at all. I think we're pretty much clear for a while. Now, the thing is, droughts can pop up over the summer. You get 3, 4, 5 really dry weeks, and it can come back quickly.
Which is what we kind of saw in the fall. We just saw like no rain, and then it just deeply fell into a drought.
So that's
the interesting thing about the Cape and Islands is the soil composition is so different compared to inland, where we have really great soil. You think about the Connecticut River Valley, some of the most fertile soil in the country. It's a different type of drought when you're out in the Cape and Islands.
And I will say that a lot of folks are saying, okay, so there's been so much rain, why do I see in my town there's restrictions on water?
Yeah.
And those things are really just, they pop up the same time every year, almost regardless of what the weather situation is, just because we need to be sort of conservative in the summertime because the drought can pop up really quickly. Not one of these long-term, like serious droughts, but a short-term drought. Doesn't take long for that to pop up.
Absolutely.
So that's why you see those signs popping up around town and around the eastern Mass. But here's our storm system spinning around in southern Ohio.
Yep.
And that's what's going to get us. You can already see that sort of arm of moisture extending into sort of West Virginia and heading towards PA. That's what's going to spiral up here tomorrow morning.
And this is an interesting storm because it is unusually deep, and it will, as it approaches New England and goes over top of us, it's bordering on one of the stronger storms for this time of year that we've kind of ever seen. So kind of remarkable in that way. It doesn't have an area of high pressure bumping up against it, so this isn't going to be associated with a ton of wind or anything like that. It's just, you know, a period.
It's a potent little...
It is a potent little storm, but it's quick mover. That's the good news. So here's Futurecast showing a couple of showers this afternoon and evening. I think it's few and far between. Best chance for rain today is going to be basically Metro West and West. But this is positive 2 o'clock, seeing some of the first raindrops. And by, 5, 6 o'clock, some of the downpours could be moving through. Now, this might be a quicker model run. I think by 4 o'clock, we're starting to see some of the downpours, and by like 8, 9 o'clock, we're really starting to push this on out of here.
Yeah, and you can see there's like sort of a dry area in like Worcester County. That's actually the center of the low. It's a really potent, small little system. The center of the low, like sort of over Worcester County, and that arc of rain to the east over the eastern Massachusetts. Almost like a mini meso-low. It's really a potent little thing. So even though it's a quick mover and it's early Saturday morning, again, I think there's potential for some really heavy downpours in a short period of time.
Absolutely. And so as we go past 9, 10 o'clock, perhaps a couple of downpours, but the overall trend after that heavy band rolls through is going to be a much drier stretch. The second half of Saturday and then into Sunday, I think we're looking really, really good.
Yeah, we were originally... yesterday, day before, it looked like there may have been a sort of a potent secondary part to the system coming through Saturday, like late in the day or evening. Now that does not appear to be the case. There could be a few pop-up showers, but I don't think there's going to be anything widespread Saturday evening going on.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the good news. Once we get this thing out of here Saturday morning, we're sort of home free for a good stretch.
Yeah. Rainfall total-wise, I think anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch, a little bit more as you go into central Mass, and then Connecticut River Valley, Berkshires, sort of the pivot point, if you will, from where the heavy rain will be, that they're likely going to get the bulk of the rain.
Yeah, and that's basically because that center of that low is moving right up over top of Boston and Worcester, and you usually get the heaviest sort of rainfall to the north and west, and that's kind of why that's happening. Earlier in the week, it looked like the storm may have been passing farther southeast over the Cape, and we were thinking maybe that we could get 1 to 2 inches in Boston. That seems unlikely now. So that's sort of good news for Eastern Mass. And again, Saturday, once you get through that morning, like not a bad day.
Yeah, after we clear some clouds out, I do think our temperatures will pop. We'll still have a little bit of mugginess in the air because of the lingering, puddles on the ground, that sort of thing. But the trend for the dew points, too, is going to be dropping. If you're heading to Post Malone Jelly Roll, you're looking good. Temperatures in the evening in the middle 60s.
You heading down to Gillette tomorrow?
I will not be. Okay. I will be... back here Sunday morning.
So it would have been an aggressive move on your part.
Yes, very aggressive move. You know what's interesting, and this is kind of a tangent, the Jason Aldean concert, Fenway Park, unfortunately got canceled. It would have been fine weather-wise, but with the traffic in the Mass Pike, I would have been very interested to see how that played out. A lot of people letting out, 10, 11 o'clock, everyone's driving west, or a lot of people.
Not to mention, we're actually doing a story tonight on the WBZ News at 5 on there's a bridge sort of repair being done on the Mass Pike. Now I'm a weather dude, so I'm in the morning news meeting and I'm sort of listening to what else is going on. But if you're traveling this weekend, if you're going down to Gillette or down the Pike, which I'm sure a lot of folks are, could be sort of an extra struggle with the traffic going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's making me, I drive, in at 3 a.m. It's still making me, because they're shutting it down tonight.
Okay.
I've got to rethink my route. Now, as far as Sunday goes, a little bit cooler, but you'll notice the drop in humidity values. And I do think that not just because of the rain in the morning Saturday, but I think, take the rain out of the equation. Sunday's just, I think, a nicer day because of the drop in the humidity.
Yeah, Dew points will probably be in the 40s.
Yeah.
Really kind of cool, crisp feel this Sunday. So really no weather worries. Again, earlier in the week, it looked like there may have been one final sort of swoosh of rain coming through early Sunday. That's no longer the case. Sunday looking really nice. So
yeah,
there you go. There's a positive end to the weekend, and really after tomorrow morning, a positive sort of finish, 36 hours to the weekend. And the Cape doesn't look bad either.
Yeah, so there is that thunderstorm icon for Saturday. That would be the morning round. And then you'll start to see some improvements. And I think any lingering showers would really be for Boston and west, not really so much for the southeastern coastline. And then Sunday, you're full on sunshine. I have to stress, wear the sunscreen. Please wear the sunscreen this time of year. Even though the Cape, it's 60 degrees sometimes at the Cape, you still can get burned. Temperature really has nothing to do with your
It's a sun angle, and it's in June is coming up. June 1st is Sunday. So the sun angle is just about at its peak. So like you said, even if it's 65 degrees, it's still, the sun angle is still intense. So looking ahead to June, I can't, May is ending, and here we are already.
Yeah, here we are.
Obviously, June is the month where we get the most amount of sunshine during the solstice, from June 17th to 21st, where sunsets are in the 820s. So June to me is really one of the best months of the year here.
Yeah.
I think you got a lower risk of kind of what's been going on recently, like cutoff systems and days of clouds and rain. That sort of tends to go away, and you sort of get into you're not in the bulk of the heat of the summer yet. Almost like June reminds me a lot of like September. It's kind of like one of those fringe months, but can be really comfortable outside.
I totally agree with you, absolutely. We do get some storms. We've had some historic storms. We've had the June 1st tornado that hit Springfield. We've had the Worcester tornado back in the 1950s. So we do have to be on guard for some of these stronger storms, but hopefully, knock on wood, we avoid any of that. And also, we have our eye on the tropics. It has been over 30 years since we've been hit here in Massachusetts by a hurricane. That is the one thing, as I talk to the National Weather Service, what keeps you up at night? They always say a hurricane landfall.
Absolutely.
Because you're talking about a generation that hasn't seen that impacts. So here's a forecast from NOAA. They released this last week, I believe. They're expecting an average to above average season with 13 to 19 storms and hurricanes a little bit above average. And as far as our names go, you can see some of the names. I love using this slide when we talk to kids because I talk about Hurricane Bob, right? They're like, Hurricane Bob? That's such a weird name for a hurricane.
I know, but Bob is not a name of the new generation.
Right, yeah. And so I tell them about the list of hurricanes, and so this is the list that we're going to be using here in 2025. Andrea, I believe, is how it's pronounced.
So.
There's a special pronunciation.
Barry, kind of an old school name.
Yeah.
Not too many Barrys around. Of course, we know Barry Burbank.
Of course.
But that's kind of an old school name. I will say that, again, just looking over the next couple of weeks, not to freak anybody out, but there's some of the models are hinting at something sort of coming out of South America, oddly enough, and sort of coming up into the Yucatan area in the next week or so. So I wouldn't rule out some sort of early season tropical activity down that way, down towards the Yucatan or the Gulf. It's not a definite, but there could be something brewing early on. Usually we don't really get into a lot of the bigger storms until July or August.
Sure. And when we talk about hurricane season, especially the very start of hurricane season, it's usually these like homegrown, you don't look at the long waves coming off of Africa that really. When a system goes into the Gulf of Mexico, it's still really warm there for this time of year. So that's where we would watch for. Our next 7 days look like this. Today, we're expecting temperatures to get back into the middle 70s. It's already warming up nicely, a little bit of sunshine outside. Tomorrow, early rain, heavy rain at that. But this should clear out pretty quickly, leaving us with the second half of Saturday pretty decent. Sunday is pretty nice. And then summer-like feels building in for the middle and end of next week.
So the mid 80s are definitely a possibility middle of next week, but I'm a little concerned about there's like another one of these little you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's another one of these little cutoff systems that is going to be somewhere in the northeast, east coast, middle of next week. So just keep an eye on that. If you're looking at Wednesday and Thursday, like beach day, let's go, like hopefully. Let's just keep an eye on it the next couple of days. Jacob will obviously be updating you over the weekend. There is potential for sort of something else going on the middle of next week. Not a complete sunny day, but we'll see. I like taking the positive approach, though.
I tried. I looked at Eric's forecast last night, and you know, we try to aim for positivity. We aim for that summer feel, but yes, there is a wrench that can be thrown into that
as there
forecast.
always is around here.
Yes. So we appreciate you tuning in to YouTube. As always, like and subscribe. We'll have many more of these weather talks as the season rolls on. But for now, I'm Jacob Wycoff, Terry Eliasen. Be safe outside.
Enjoy your weekend.